What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Morning Grind. Of course, I'm TK, your host, and we got a special guest today. Some of you guys know this fella, some of you may not. If you've been to a PSA convention, you've probably ran into him. If you've been around the appliance industry for a while, you've probably heard of this fella. But I got Mr. Randy Carney, Executive Director of PSA, with me today. How are you doing, Randy?
Doing good, TK. Glad to be here. Appreciate the invite.
Absolutely, sir. We appreciate you. Get a little sip of this Joe in me. I can't operate without my coffee. Are you a coffee drinker?
I've been sipping on it while we've been waiting, so yeah, I'm good.
There you go, my man. Cool. Well, like I said, I really appreciate you coming on, sir. We really admire and look up to PSA as an organization, and you and the rest of the gang that make this conference possible every year, and just what you guys do for the industry. As you know, our goal as a Service Alliance Group is to elevate the industry. And we were just really blown away. When I went to my first PSA, I was really blown away at how you guys are all about this exact same thing, elevating the industry, looking out for from the one-man show all the way up to the big corporate or big companies with multiple techs. It's just a great thing you guys are doing over there at PSA, and we appreciate you allowing us to be a little tiny part of it. And we're really looking forward to next month's conference because it's going to be some good stuff. But I want to start off first with a quick prayer, praying a blessing over PSA this year, blessing over you and your family, and then also just afterwards get a little introduction and let us know who Randy Carney is, and then we can get into PSA because you have a really interesting story of your history in the industry. You've done a lot of things, and I think the Alliance community deserves to hear that, and they're going to be really intrigued by your story of where you've come from. So I'm gonna go ahead and pray us up, and then we'll get right into it. Papa, thank you for this day. Father, just take over this time and allow us to not just talk about PSA and appliance repair and all those things, but lift one another up, Lord. I want to pray a blessing over this conference this year, Lord. Every person that is involved, from the executive director, Randy, to Mike and the rest of the board, to every presenter and trainer and attendee. Lord, let us come together next month and make this industry better. Learn more, network, and have a good time. Lord, we thank you for Randy. We thank you for his family. I ask that you bless them. Thank you for this time together this morning. Bless every person watching. Bless every business represented, every family. Lord, if there's any sickness, any distress, anything going on in a viewer's life today, or even someone that's not watching, Lord, we just pray that you have your hands upon them. We thank you for everything you're doing in our lives, and it's in the mighty name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
Thank you, TK.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I asked you guys this that are watching, keep this conference in your prayers. A lot of effort and a lot of time goes into preparing these conferences. And these guys that do this, guys and gals that are part of this every year in and year out, they put a lot of effort into it. So just keep them in your prayers. And I think that this is going to be a great conference. But let's start off, Randy, with you. I'd love for you to share a little bit about your story, how you got into the appliance repair industry, how you got involved with PSA. So the floor is yours, sir. Just let us know, who you are and how you got into this crazy industry.
Well, it's been a long story. I actually was in college at the University of Northern Iowa here, and I was in a journalism major. And went through the first 2 years, and I figured I needed to take a break. I was going to transfer to the University of Iowa where they had a better journalism program, but I thought I'd work for a year. And I went down to Amana, and that's about 10 minutes from where I live. So my family has worked there. My dad was actually a VP there, and got a job in the factory. I didn't like that. So I worked there for about 3 months and said, oh, I'm going to go back to school. It's a lot safer. Well, before I did that, somebody came and see me out of the customer service group and said, we heard you're down here. Would you be interested in working on customer relations? Well, I was kind of a dumb 20-year-old, and what's customer relations? And so we went up there, and basically the complaint department, and did a little more than that. We were able to resolve customer issues, and I thought that was okay. I'd rather do this than hang doors on refrigerators, but I'll still go back to school. Now, 46 years later, I've never finished that journalism work. So I started at Amana in the service department in September of 1979 and worked 6 years there. Then I was moved up when Amana started doing national accounts like Sears, Ward's, Circuit City, Walmart, companies like that. I was put in charge of providing service programs and setting up service programs, which was a great experience. I got to work with a lot of the big players in the industry, and we built a pretty good department at Amana out of it. And soon we did some more expansion. I was in charge then of technical communications, which was the training department, product management, and technical service, and our tech line. And Amana then, as you probably know, most of you, was bought by Maytag in 2001. And I worked in 3 years in charge of the technical communications department there. And then I moved to field service and was a division manager for the northern half of the U.S. When Whirlpool bought Maytag and didn't make it through that one. So I kind of was a free agent briefly, and then I started working with Samsung on a special project, and ended up working for Samsung for 5 years as a regional manager in charge of the appliance side of the business. Of course, they had a huge electronics side at the time, and we took their service network from about 25 companies up to 1,200 in that time. Unfortunately, that came to an end too. And I worked for 18 months or so for an independent service company in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, here in the area, and got a taste of that. I mean, I had worked with independent service companies. I hadn't ever been one. So that was good experience for me to see how things were on the battle lines. Then PSA came calling, and Ron Sawyer, who was the founder of PSA, was planning to retire. And they took a leap of faith because, PSA back in that day wasn't real friendly with manufacturers in a lot of ways. They were pretty much, butting heads a lot. And here I was coming out of that background. So I can't tell you that Ron in particular was real thrilled about it. But they ended up choosing me, and I worked with Ron, and we got along great. He was a tremendous mentor, helped me a lot with how we do things. And then Ron ended up totally stepping aside, and I've been at PSA ever since as the executive director. So it's a different vibe because our organization, you kind of touched on, is all volunteer. Mm-hmm. Except for me. I am the quote one employee of PSA. So work with the board of directors, and they are all volunteers. Some of them are retired, but most of them have their own businesses or still working their own businesses. You mentioned Mike Callahan, our president. He runs service companies in Texas and in New York. So, these guys are busy. And they're giving of themselves for this industry. And you made mention about the rising professionalism in our industry. That's really what we are all about too. We want
Mm.
our members, we want our industry, not just our members, to bring themselves up in a professional manner, businesses in a professional manner, and treat their customers professionally. And we will do whatever we can do to help make that happen. But that's really our core belief.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. You have such a I mentioned this in the pre-roll before we went live. You have such an interesting story. Because you've been in the companies, the manufacturers, these big corporations. You've been in the service side. You've seen both. You've seen it all, really. Like it's a very interesting story. I would love. I know this is on the spot, and you don't have to answer, but I would love, while we're at PSA, to do a more in-depth podcast again, because guys like you just have so much knowledge and wisdom and insight. We do a different topic each week for the grind, and this week is industry insight. So there's just so much knowledge from guys like you, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on here and share some of that with us. I'm gonna say good morning to some folks real quick, because we got some folks chiming in. We got our boy from AMP Marketing. You guys all know him as Mr. Mike Carson. Good morning, Mike. Good to see you, brother. As always, we got Mr. Howard in the house. Good to see you. We got my brother from another mother, Mr. Dan Ibsen. Do you know Dr. Dan, don't you?
I know Dr. Dan.
Man, I'll tell you what, there's not a lot of people in this world that I consider my mentor and someone I look up to, but Dr. Dan is one of them, man. Like he is just he's awesome. And then his beautiful wife, we got her chiming in too. Shout out to her. I'm actually gonna take 1 second, Randy, and do a public thank you. Marion did this painting for me for my birthday. I don't know if she meant to do it for my birthday, but it arrived the day before my birthday. And I just want to say a public thank you. She is a great artist. So sorry about that. But yeah, we got some people checking in. We got one of our favorite Marcone reps in the house, Mr. Saul Flores. Always a pleasure to have you on. We got Mr. Soper. Good to see you, brother. Always good to have you on the show. We got Mr. Parsons in the house. Good to see you, Gary. I hope you guys have signed up for PSA already. If you haven't, make sure to click the link that I dropped in the comments or in the description. Get your ticket, get your flight ready. There's flight discounts if you go to the Alliance group. Somebody posted it yesterday, but there's flight discounts you can get. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you sign up and get out there. I got a question from Mr. Soper. He said, where do you see the biggest gap in professionalism? Uniform, training, personalism, price, definition of service, meeting client standards, etc. That's a good question. What do you think, Randy?
It kind of runs the gamut there from what he's talking about. I mean, you need to be personable. When you're going to be in a consumer's home, you have to be able to chat them up a little bit in a polite manner. Uniform is always helpful. I'm not such a huge stickler on the type of uniform. I know this time of the year, a lot of people like to wear shorts and stuff in there. I don't have a problem with that as long as they're well groomed and everything. I mean, price is always going to be a factor. But I think at the end of the day, if you show an interest in your customer and, you are handling things in a professional manner and an open and clear manner, very transparent, I think you're going to be okay. I think that may be one of the problems we have with the newer, younger group coming in some ways. they don't have a lot of the social skills that, frankly, people of our age have gained over the years. I mean, they spend all their time, working on their phones, and I'm not gonna ding them for that, because all of us do that now. It's just the nature of the beast. But we also have a little bit of a social background, and it's kind of telling. I coach high school basketball for 30 years, and I've seen the change in young people and their attention spans and everything else, and it's kind of startling. So if you're going to develop your own tech, I strongly urge you to work on the social side of things too, because if the customer likes your tech, that's half the battle.
Yeah, that's it, man. Like I say this all the time on the show and talk when I'm talking to business owners. We hire on character. Being a good technician can be trained, but training someone to be a good person is virtually impossible. Teaching someone those people skills is hard. So you're absolutely right. I would highly recommend to any business owner, technician, anyone in the industry, come to PSA this year and get into these business classes. Service Alliance Group, I think, is doing 9 or 10 business workshops. Yeah, doing several. And then other guys and gals are doing other stuff on business. And it's just a plethora of information. I'm really excited about the three that I get to do, because I know that for me, customer service is everything. And I get to do a presentation. It's really a workshop that I'm going to be doing on customer service. And I think that that is one of the things that, I'm not bragging, but I excel at. I'm really good at going in there and meeting the customer where they're at and providing excellent service. And I think it's something that a lot of times we can overlook because we get busy, we get going, we get rolling, but it is so, so, so important. Let's switch gears for a second, Randy. For those watching now, or that might watch in the next few weeks, or might watch whenever, that have never heard of PSA, can you give us a quick little, what is PSA and why does it matter in your words and from your perspective?
Well, obviously, we have, in my view, two associations in the industry, and both of them are good organizations, UASA and PSA. Marcone, this is absolutely no knock on Marcone, because they obviously are a big part of the industry and they put on a nice event. I almost consider that more of a buying group than I do a service association. But I think it's important for people to be a part of that. If nothing else, I think one of the best things that you can do, and this goes to our convention and our chats, everything, is talk to your peers.
Yeah.
Talk to people in the industry. Don't live in a bubble where you don't take advice or take input from somebody else. What you're running into and some of the challenges that you're running into are not going to be unique. Everybody has run into challenges. Everybody's had to overcome things. Everybody's had mentors or people throughout their life that have helped them do that. And soak that up. And I think that's one of the most important things with an association. And we talked about the desire to improve the professionalism through the ranks and everything. And that is obviously critical. But keep your ears open and keep your mind open to different ways of doing things. And the best way to understand that is to talk to others in the industry, because they're going through the same thing you are at some level. And they can generally offer you some help. And if nothing else, they offer you a sympathetic ear because they've been there. And sometimes they can help talk you down out of a tough spot. But take advantage of that. And that's why the the conventions and the get-togethers are so important because you're going to get several hundred people who are in your industry that you can sit around and have a beer with and talk to and just basically soak stuff up. It's one of the best things about the conventions and so on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I say this every year. My first convention was an ASTI and ASTI. And I went to a few of those. I've been to PSA. And every single time I say the same thing. The classes are awesome, the training is awesome, but every person I ever talk to go to these things, they say the networking and the after hours, the in between classes, the table discussions when you're sitting at lunch or breakfast and you sit down next to that guy you don't know and you make that connection and he drops that little nugget of wisdom. Last year we did our first PSA presentations, and there's just so much knowledge. Oftentimes, I go in there thinking that I'm gonna blow people's socks off with how much I know, and I end up being humbled because it turns out I learn more from the people in my class than I teach them. I feel like, Marion, perfect example. Marion last year dropped this awesome idea about handing out custom coloring sheets to the kids when you go to a house. And my boy EJ, shout out to EJ. He takes everything to the next level. He literally got coloring books made, custom coloring books with EJ's Appliance on it. They're pretty cool. But just little nuggets of wisdom. That's the reason that I love these conferences, because you just never know. And I've actually taken that to heart this year and really formulated my presentations to be more of and all of the presentations we're doing this year, we've really taken it to a next level where we're trying to make it an interactive workshop. Because let's be honest, guys, no one wants to sit there for 2 hours and listen to TK talk. None of you want to do that. You might enjoy listening to me when I do a quick 10-minute video on Facebook, but nobody wants to listen to anybody talk for 2 hours. So one thing that I'm really excited about for this year is doing these interactive workshops where we get in a room with a bunch of smart people, because we can all learn something. If I was to spend 2 hours with just me and Randy, I would come out of that experience with so much more knowledge, because Randy's been through these things. Randy's done a lot of stuff. Same with Mike, same with all these guys that have been doing this for 30, 40 years, the Dr. Dans and all these people. So I really encourage you guys, if you haven't started budgeting every year to attend these conferences, start budgeting. It should be part of your business budget to make it a priority to come to these conferences. And I'm not telling you which ones to go to. I love PSA, but you need to get into these conferences. You need to get involved. If you wanna rub shoulders with the industry's best, you got to get to these conferences and be a part of it, because it's going to change your business. So you've been around the industry for a while, Randy.
Yes.
What we're talking about industry insights this week from someone with your experience. What would you say has been the biggest shift in the appliance industry in the last, you said 1979, so the last 40 plus years? What is the biggest shift you've seen, and what do you see the future of appliance repair going into?
It's a really good question. I came up with the manufacturers through a lot of that time, be it Amana or Maytag or even Samsung. One of the things is the constant up and down of factory service and the viewpoint toward independent servicers. And, I I was at Amana at a time where they wanted to expand factory service, and in those markets, they were going to dump every independent service company. And we stood up and said, no, 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 no. You cannot do that. Factory service can't handle all that, and there always has to be other options. Well, of course, they did it anyway. So after it cratered, as we had said it would, you have to go back and resell yourself to a very skeptical independent service network. Hey, I've been down this road with you once before. And that's happened before, and it's not limited to just Amana. It's happened just about every major. And that is still happening to some degree today. I guess what I would say is that in my experience, when I looked at metrics, and this is at several companies, the independent servicers always outperform factory service. Always. Okay. Does the manufacturer get to control the experience as much with independents? Probably not. But if you get quality independents, and if they're doing the work, I think you can make a judgment that they're doing okay as far as the experience is concerned.
Yeah.
And that was driven home to me early on, and it serves me well today with PSA because obviously we are huge on independent service providers. And when I came into PSA, as I was telling TK a little bit ago, I came from the manufacturing side, which when you talk to some folks at PSA, is kind of like, they're wearing garlic around their necks because they think I'm a vampire or something. And, I was a fan of the independent servicers. I remain obviously a fan of the independent servicers. Is there room for factory service in some markets? Probably. There might be. There's some tough markets out there. But I always look at factory service a little skeptically when I don't necessarily have that same view of a long-standing, solid, successful independent service provider. They're doing something right.
Yeah. I've never done work for manufacturers. It's just not my business plan, but I've known so many that do and do it well. And I think that it's something that's a lot of people don't even consider when they're getting into the business. And as I always tell people on the show and when I'm talking to guys and networking with people, you have to figure out what's going to work best for you. And the appliance repair industry is changing and evolving and morphing. And, I think in the next few years, we're going to see some really cool stuff. We don't know which direction everything's going, but you have to figure out what works best for you. And just like your relationships with people in your community, in the industry, etc., there is a place for these manufacturers, and they do play a role. And you have to figure out what role they play in your business plan.
And that's why it's important to know, a lot of these conferences, you'll see cost of doing business classes. You have to know what your business requirements are. Where do you want to go? How do you want to get there? Like TK said, I am not against people doing warranty work, because if you don't do warranty work, then you're going to see factory service popping up all over. But warranty work shouldn't be it for you. Okay. I mean, let's face it, you make more money on COD. You keep more money on COD. But there is a place for both. And the warranty work can help tide you over some slow times at some points.
Yeah.
So I think you need to remember that. And really, your relationship with the manufacturer is going to come down to one thing for you, and that is your rep.
Oh, yeah.
Get a good relationship with your rep. There's good reps. There's reps that aren't quite as good. I know a lot of the really good ones. I think that, right now, most of the folks that are out there in the field are out there doing the work and working to build a better network. But have a close relationship with your rep if you're working for a manufacturer, because they will be tremendous help to you.
Yeah. So circling back to the PSA conference, what would you say? So we all know there's ASTI, there's the MSA conference, there's all these different things you can attend. There's other, conferences that are just all trades that you can go to. What makes the PSA conference different from any of the other ones? Why should someone come to this conference rather than, say, an ASTI or an MSA or whatever?
Well, PSA is the oldest. That's one thing. We were the first one to do it. I will say, and this isn't necessarily all by choice, we would like to see more people coming. I have a tough time not thinking that we shouldn't have 500 folks there every year.
Yeah,
we really should. But I think our classes are, by and large, smaller, more intimate, and you probably have more interactions with the presenters, be they technical or business or anything, than you do at a lot of the other conferences. I've been to some of the other conferences, and they have massive rooms full of people, which is great for them, but it's maybe not great for you.
Yeah.
As far as learning, and ours are a lot more intimate. But I don't want to speak out of both sides of my mouth, but obviously we want to have as many folks come to our conferences and enjoy our conferences as we can. And I think the last 10 years or so, we've stepped up the venues. We have the Westgate itself is a great venue. We had a really good one in Portsmouth last year. We've stepped up the venues. We try to keep it as reasonably priced as we can. And that's getting tough. If you look around at all of them, the hotels, ever since the COVID thing, have been going bananas. And costs are just so insane, but we're doing our best to keep it tamped down, and we have some discount opportunities and so on. So we try to make it reasonable, because we know that, not everybody has a 20-man shop and can get away like that. A lot of folks are getting away and they're giving up a week's work. And we want to make it worth your while, and we want to keep it as reasonable as we possibly can. We try to move the venues around the country as much as we can. We're back in Vegas this year, which personally, not a huge fan of Vegas. A lot of people like it. But, we actually had to go back this year because we had to cancel once during the COVID period. So we worked it out with the hotel. They were really good about it. And the Westgate's a great venue. The rooms are good. It's attractive. Like a lot of the hotels in Vegas, you have to go through the casino to get to the trade show floor, but it's not a 45-minute walk to get there. It's a lot more compact than a lot of the casinos there. So we've been really happy with the Westgate as a venue. So we're looking forward to a good time here next month. Yeah.
Speaking from my perspective, I know that, there's value in all of these conferences, but for me, the things that make the PSA conference different is, number one, what Mike said right here. There's more of a personal touch. When I went to my first PSA, it just felt like more of a community to me. It was just, everyone was, and everyone's been nice at all of the conferences I've ever been to. Let me start by saying that. But there was just more of a personal touch where I just felt like we're all just coming together for a common cause. In Portsmouth last year, that was my first PSA. And it was just awesome. And then another thing that I would say sets you guys apart from any other conference is two things. Number one, your certification program. I think that is completely overlooked by a lot of companies and technicians. as we all know, the appliance repair industry is one of the less regulated industries in the country. And I'm okay with that. I love it. I'm not a fan of government regulation. But if you want to stand out in your community, if you want to stand out to your peers, I highly recommend getting certified. I highly recommend that you take the time when you come to PSA this year. Y'all are doing the certification this year, correct?
We are. We actually have updated and upgraded the MCAP, the Master Technician exam. We had some help from some of the manufacturers worked with us on it, and that will be rolled out. The Certified Service Manager test is next on the docket. We have refined down some of the questions. The famous one last year was the Yellow Pages question, which totally dated. But, we're working on that one too. But the MCAP one is ready, will be given in Vegas. And by next year, we should have a whole suite of tests all upgraded.
That's awesome, man. And the second thing I was going to mention is the Top Tech competition. Y'all doing that again?
Absolutely.
That's cool. And I'm in no way, shape, or form going to enroll in Top Tech because I would probably be the last person. I would probably be last place. But that's cool because I know for a lot of people that brings a sense of competition, and it also brings a sense of just good old fashioned just team, just community. Everybody coming together, and a lot of us are men that want to brag about how great a techs we are. And I can't remember the gentleman's name that won it last year, but I remember when that gentleman went up and just the glow of joy on his face, knowing that he had won that. And what a great thing to do, just to have some fun and add something to the convention that says, hey, everybody, you guys are all awesome technicians out there working every day. But if you want to say I'm the top technician in the nation, you got to show up at PSA. You gotta take the ruling champion down. I feel like we need to get some kind of like WWE belt for the top technician or something, because it's just a cool thing. And for me,
an idea.
going to these conferences, it's all about networking, community, building relationships, and having fun. You're going to learn, you're going to do all those things, but you guys add these little touches like the Top Tech competition that are just so cool and fun.
Well, the Top Tech program is near and dear to my heart because we hold that in honor of John Stanton. John had been a trainer at LG and tragically passed away a few years ago. John worked with me at Amana and he worked with me at Maytag. So I'd known John for many, many years, and he was just one of the really good guys in the industry. As far as a trainer is concerned, there were none better. And so we, with LG support, and LG supports that program to the hilt. We kind of hold that in honor of John every year. It's something that he would have dearly loved. So it's, it's close to our hearts. I kind of like the idea of the belt. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I think it would be cool.
And we have a cash prize, but belt would be kind of cool.
Yeah, you play some epic music, have the last year's winner come in with the belt over his head, maybe get some tables that we could body slam people through. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas.
That's an idea. May not be
but
a good
anyway,
idea, but it's an idea.
Yeah, I'm excited about this year's conference. I'm excited about next year's conference, maybe even a little more because it's right in my backyard. For those of you that are watching that don't know, 2026, we're going to be doing the conference in Williamsburg, Virginia. So it's right in my backyard. So I'm super excited about that. If you've never been to Williamsburg, it's a super cool spot. I've grown up going to Williamsburg all the time. And then the 2027 PSA is going to be in New Orleans, correct?
Yes.
So I've never been to Vegas. So this will be my first time in Vegas. My wife's not happy that I'm going without her. I've never been to New Orleans. So I'm super excited about these next few years of lineup. I will say this, as we've been promoting PSA this year, a lot of people have pushed back about Vegas, kind of the way you said, like, I'm not a big fan of Vegas. Many people that I talk to, they're like, oh, I can't stand Vegas. I'm gonna wait till they're not in Vegas. So if for some reason you can't make it this year, you hate Vegas, you don't want to go, I would suggest get over that and just go for the networking. I'm not drinking anymore. I'm trying to walk a little bit closer to the Lord and not drink as much. So I'm not going to be drinking while you're there. So if you're worried about going because you have a problem with drinking and a problem with some of the things that Vegas has to offer, I offer my accountability to you. If you're going and you need someone to hang out with and not drink and stay away from the sins of the Sin City, I'll be more than happy to hang out with you. I'll be more than happy to be your brother's keeper. But if you're not going to make it for whatever reason, start saving now. For that small business owner that can't make it this year, start saving and budgeting now for 2026. Because I think the Williamsburg one's good. I think the Vegas one's going to be awesome, but I'm really looking forward to the Vegas and New Orleans as well. I'm excited for the future of PSA, and you guys have been around for so long as a part of this industry. And I want to just say thank you to you and everybody else at PSA for doing what you do year in and year out. I know it's not easy. I know it can be frustrating. I know that there's often obstacles and different things like that. So on behalf of Service Alliance Group and the Service Alliance community, thank you for allowing us to be a little part of it. And I hope we become a bigger part of it as years progress. But well,
you guys have been great. We really appreciate the partnership. I spent a lot of time talking to Mike, and all of you folks really appreciated you coming in last year. We're looking forward to this year and moving forward. Anytime you want me to sit in with you, TK, whether it be at the conference or anytime else, just let me know.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I really do truly appreciate you. Well, we got stuff to do today. Randy's got meetings. I got meetings. PSA conference is next month. It's less than a month away. It starts the 22nd.
Yes.
22nd. So if you haven't signed up, make sure you click the link. Make sure you sign up. If for some reason you can't come this year, start saving now. Start planning now. Next year, it's going to be in September, right, Randy?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same time over the next couple of years.
Every year. So you know there's going to be one next year in September. So if you're like, man, I can't make it this year, now's the time to start saving. I said this in the beginning, and I'm going to say it again as we let Randy go. You guys need to budget for these conferences, especially PSA, because I think in the next few years, you guys are going to see some awesome stuff with PSA. I think that as they're working on this, upgrading the certification programs and things like that, upgrading the classes and the trainings and all these different things, you need to be at this conference. Oh yeah, Mike said click the banner. I completely forgot. Let's see. Let me see. There's so many banners. I don't see a banner. Oh, here it is. It's the top one. ApplianceRepairConference.com. Go there, sign up, get in there, get your ticket. If you need an airfare, if you need a plane ticket, make sure you go to the Facebook group. Dylan, I believe it's Dylan, dropped a link in there. Dylan Harris, who's also an awesome part of it. He's always promoting PSA. Shout out to him and his family. But get your tickets now. It's less than a month away. Once again, thank you, Randy. I appreciate you coming on today. For those of you that haven't gotten your tickets, just click the link. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll answer any I can't. And if I don't know the answer, I'll get you in touch with Randy or Mike or one of the guys that does know everything. And we'll get you plugged in. But anyway, thank you again, brother. I look forward to seeing you next month. If you need anything between now and then, feel free to reach out to us. But you guys have a great week, and we will see you next time.
I appreciate it, DK. Thanks, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for tuning in to the Morning Grind podcast by Service Alliance Group. Subscribe to our channel and make sure you visit our website at servicealliancegroup.com for appliance repair business resources.